told you we're coming back. I told you we're coming back. We are back this week with Miss Kelsey. As we said, she kicked off Alopecia for us with her story in November, the first Wednesday. So now we are into the second Wednesday, and we are excited to be with this young lady. So before we even get started, please, 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 I need you to share. It's not about you or me. It is about our family and friends, and you may be the only connection that they would have to being enlightened by what's going on this platform. So I need you to share. And I always like to tell people what the purpose of this platform for the newcomers, because we get newcomers every week. But before I do that, I want to welcome Miss Kelsey. Hey, girl.
Hi.
I just love your smile.
Thank
so we're going to get into it, Miss
you.
Kelsey, in a second. But our purpose of this platform is to inspire. I love saying that because this is who I am. Inspire and empower individuals like you, like me, to be strengthened by our own testimonies versus being weakened by our experiences. And I always like to highlight the strength, because I at one point, and Kelsey shared on last week at one point, that she was weakened by what she was going through. People look at us and they inspire, but we get weakened by it. Come on now, that's got to stop. So I want to get into this interview, but before I do, I got to highlight my sponsor for November. Miss Sweets by LaDonna Ellington. She's kicking it, y'all. So you can contact her at 615-809-7162. She is extending her offer from October. When you make a purchase, she's going to give you a dozen of her gourmet Oreo cookies for half price. So she's running that same special. Evidently, y'all been buying a lot of stuff from her, because girl cookies, okay? So I want to thank you for sponsoring me, Miss LaDonna. Thank you so much for that. I want to also let you guys know how to reach me. A lot of you have been doing so. So that lets me know you're paying attention to your girl. So I can be reached on Facebook, YouTube. You can just click in Mollie Vaughns Alopecia Journey, or you can look at KZ Radio TV. There where you would find me. Also, I am on Instagram. So this is a global platform. You can also inbox me like a lot of you have been doing. You know, Kelsey, from the last segment, someone Instagram me and message me. They were like, I need to be on your show. I was like, well, I need you on my show, because that's what this is about. I love inspiring stories. I am so excited. So even though some of you not with the technology, snail mail is always cool. I think the stamp is 55 cents, Kelsey. So it's Mollie Vaughns, P.O. Box 344, Laverne, Tennessee 37086. And then for some of you who can't remember that, that's okay. Do me DM me and we got this going. But I want to just go on right now and get involved with this testimony, the rest of this journey with Miss Kelsey. She was awesome on last week. She is a person, and like I told you last week, we just met each other face to face like this. This was just by phone, how we just kept the conversation and texting and whatever. And it's just amazing. That lets you know, Kelsey, it's genuine.
Yep, all the way from Ohio, Kentucky area, all the way down to Tennessee. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, we can do this.
And we have a community all over the world, girl. So wherever state we go in, I may just say, hey, look, where's my peeps? Where are my peeps? Just to meet.
Yeah,
so I
absolutely.
definitely will be coming to Ohio.
The Cincinnati area, you've got my phone number.
That's right. That's right. Because you know this is the place to be. So whenever you make your way down to Tennessee, holla.
Oh yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
So, yes, there's a lot going on here. So, but listen, let's get started on this interview, because you know the feedback that I was getting from it, I was so happy. I can't believe that you said that this is your first time doing this. No way, Kelsey. Yes. No way.
This is my first time ever being on Zoom like this, ever. I think this is the first time my webcams. I practiced last night with my boyfriend to make sure it was set up okay, but that was it, just to make sure the volume and everything was right.
Did he say, Kelsey, please? Because my husband, when I'd be practicing on different things, he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I gotta make sure the thing. So you know what I love though, Kelsey? That sometimes that it's bloopers. You know, when I go back, I might ask Larry to give me a tape of bloopers. I might. That'll be something fun to look at and say, because it was some bloops, girl. And you're gonna run into some bloops. If this is your first time, keep going. You're gonna do it. Awesome. But I feel I feel, I've gotten different comments from people, even my husband, and he was like, it feels like at home. It feels at home with the interview. And that's what I wanted to feel like. I always, even with my natural home, when people come in, I want them to feel at home.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you know how we all do those self-talks in the mirror? Well, when I talk to you through Zoom, that's exactly how it feels.
That's how I feel. And that's what I'm getting. And I'm so excited. So let's get back into this interview so people can, hear more about Miss
Absolutely.
Kelsey. So looking back, how could you handle the news differently? Because we talked about that last week, but how could you be better at it today? If someone had given you this now, looking back, how would you have handled it differently that you think in your mind?
Well, besides the things I had stated before, like I would have totally shaved my head before earlier on and thought a little bit more to build my self-confidence up. If I could do it differently, I would definitely protect my more mental state of mind and focus on myself as opposed to what everybody else was thinking about me. And let myself know, just because they're judging you, they're saying something behind your back, you looked over, they're making a gesture of pointing at their head, and you know that it's about you. Don't let that bother you. It really is just a waste of time. And there was so much time in my life that it just feels like I wasted by worrying too much about what other people thought. So that would definitely be one of the game changers. And I would love the confidence that I have now, finally. I wish I had that back then, because I would definitely educate people more about it and spread awareness earlier, as opposed to wait until I'm 30 and finally feel comfortable that people are finally figuring it out.
You know what? I told you what you're gonna really be tickled at the inspiration today, because what you just tapped into it. Because I told you, I prayed and asked God, I said, Lord, what's the outfit for today? And you just tapped into, don't worry about what people are saying. Don't worry about it, because God got us. He has our back. And the mental state that you talked about, that's something inward. And if we don't pay attention, it could come outward, because then people will begin to see something is wrong. But my mother told me a long time ago, when I was going through a lot of different things with my first marriage, I was divorced, and I was just, whew. But what she said was, God is not going to allow what you're going through on the inside to show on the outside. And what we went through ourselves inwardly, it didn't show, because people were still being inspired. That's why the purpose came to me in what this platform is, because I was not inspired by my experiences. I wasn't inspired. I felt like I had done something wrong. I felt like, am I being punished for something? I say it. So for you to say mental state and confidence, put them together, girl. Yep. Inspiration. That's ultimate. So you tapped into a lot right there. And this goes into it. Did you ever fault yourself? Did you blame yourself for losing your hair?
Oh, absolutely.
How?
Multiple different ways. So for instance, I'm vegetarian. I am a compassionate person, so I don't eat meat, but one of the reasons why I did change vegetarian was I thought maybe that would help with my hair. I would change different shampoos. I always felt like I wasn't doing something correct.
Right.
That I was messing this up.
Yeah.
Until I really started doing research, and it's just like, you're just going to live with this. So you better just suck it up and deal with it and learn to embrace it. And honestly, it's one of the best things that could have probably ever happened to me. I never thought I'd ever be at the moment in my life where I appreciate my alopecia. And it hasn't even been a full year. It's probably been about 6-7 months. But I actually think that my alopecia has helped me be who I am today. But I totally thought that I was doing something wrong for the longest time.
You mean 6 or 7 months? It haven't been a year that you really felt?
Yeah, when you found me on Facebook, that was when I had just come out with my I shaved my head probably a week before. When I know we had spoke about the young girl that got bullied and didn't survive her situation. Well, it was about that time, and then you found me, and I was just brand new to bald. And so you found me at the right time.
Girl, it was God, because I can't believe that you are doing so well. And see, but you know what it comes into? Self-confidence.
Absolutely.
It comes
My
into
whole life
believing
has
what,
changed.
really truly believing what God said about you. What God said, I got you. You are more than a conqueror. Your strength, like he gave you your purpose to bring joy. Once we tap, and girl, once we tap into what we know, what we've been taught, nobody can change that. Like nobody can change your mind to say, oh, well, you say something negative about you at this point. You'd be like, well, you just don't know me. But if you was to know me, you wouldn't be saying that about me.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I chunk it to.
Sit down with me.
Yeah, come hang out. We'll talk. We'll talk.
Right.
Because you know what? When people look and they stare, they have these questions going on. I mean, I'm right here. Ask me. If it's nothing so personal, of course, and be respectful, of course. But at the same time, you don't have to wonder, because some people say, well, I'm sorry. What are you sorry for, first of all?
Right.
You know, but you know something, I'm gonna share this with you. My husband told me the other day, and I thank God for him, because God knew, he knows who to go with you on this journey. Like I said, I was married before. They would not have been able to come with me on this journey. They wouldn't. So God knew, even though I felt bad about a divorce, you know, well, divorce, but no, the Lord said, no, this is who I have for you, okay? So we were walking, just, you know, walking our little Grand Canine pet, Skyler. He's a little Maltese. I love him. I put a plug in, he's in my Maltese. And he said, you know what? I noticed that when you talking to people that you haven't seen in a while, and you just have a conversation, the first thing you say, oh, this is alopecia. I wasn't even aware that I was doing that. He said, don't tell him. He said, what are you saying it for? And I had to stand back, and I was like, you're right. Why? I said, no more. If you can't, if you don't want to, if you want to know, you ask. Whatever preconceived idea or understanding you have, it's you. But I don't do that anymore. I don't, if I hadn't met this person and seen them in a while and they look and I could tell, I don't say anything.
I love the way that you just said that, because, well, I dated before my boyfriend. I've been with him almost 6 years now. We're just not rushing anything, but
Good.
he's perfect for my life. And I agree, my ex-boyfriend would have been terrible. He was terrible because I was going through the situation.
Yeah.
He made hurtful comments, but I'm in a great relationship now. But the fact that your husband said, don't tell them anymore. I didn't even think until you were just saying that I did the same thing.
I know.
I used to just start telling people, oh, it's alopecia. That's why I have no hair.
Yeah.
And then I forgot that I stopped telling people, I guess, a couple weeks ago, because I think I kind of almost forgot that I didn't have hair for a little
I forget I'm bald. I literally forget I'm bald.
Until the wind
Kelsey
blows and it's like, oh, it's cold.
You know, it's funny because you know, now my husband, he rocks a bald head, because you know, guy, when people see a guy, oh, he just bald. But when they see us as females, we got a condition, we got cancer, not a condition, straight cancer.
Right.
You know, the 4th grade of it, we got cancer. Okay, so I still get a little head cold, you know, because my hair be cold. I said, well, I tell my husband, we laugh about it. And he's like, you at home?
Oh, you brush your hair back sometimes too.
Yeah, you at home with a fan, because I go through menopause. I'm 60 years old. He's like, you at home with a fan. And then we go out and the windows are down. You get cold. I said, well, I can't explain it. I said, well, I'm new at this. And we laugh. But that's true. I get a little cold on my head, girl. I'm like, what?
And then you have to remember the sunblock, or else you're going to have that hot, like, burn on
I
top
never
of
do that.
summer. But luckily, I haven't really gone through that yet. I did good with the sunblock this summer.
It's fun. I'm telling you.
That.
See, I'm enjoying this new thing. But let me ask you this. Yes. What is the one thing, and it may be 2 things, but I'm going to say one, and you decide if you've got 2. But what is the one thing that having alopecia has taught you that you can share?
Well, a lot of things. I don't want to sound like a broken record and bring up confidence again, because that is the main thing that I cannot believe how much confidence I have. My life has changed since I shaved my head. But loving myself, basically. Yes. And I guess that goes hand in hand with confidence. But I mean, I used to watch the show Dharma and Greg as a child, and I loved how Dharma just loved herself, and she was always trying to find out who she was and be who she was. And I thought she was an inspiration to me to just be goofy and free and whoever you want to be. I always wanted to find that, but I didn't really find that until I started struggling with alopecia.
Mhm.
And then I learned how during the time, obviously with the depressing stuff, it's harder to see when you're in the box as opposed to outside of the box. But
Exactly.
I couldn't find myself with alopecia, but I learned with a whole bunch of the struggles I went through to find who I was and
Yes.
figure out how to love myself before. Kind of like the airplane situation. That bag comes down for the oxygen, you put on your face for
Yes.
your neighbor. You take care of yourself, and then you can save the rest of the plane.
That's it. That's the truth. Because, just like we talked about last week about acceptance, I must first accept me first before I can expect you to accept me.
Yes, and with a whole bunch of the Facebook groups that I do belong to with alopecia, one of the very consistent things that breaks my heart that I see is so many people feel like they aren't worthy of love.
I know.
And they feel so bad about themselves, and it's just tomorrow's a better day. Just think of the better day. Stop focusing on the bad. You get you to your next step. Don't focus on them. Love will find you once you love yourself. It
You
just
know, and it means so much to be able to be accepted. But sometimes we shouldn't focus on somebody else accepting us, because this is how I look at it, in reading the scripture and just enjoying the word, and because I get the word and I attach it to me, I literally wear it as an outfit, because when the Lord say he accepts us and he will no wise cast us away, no matter how we look, girl, no matter how we sound, the Lord say, when you accept me, when we invite him in as our Lord and Savior, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. The Lord say, I accept you. I don't have to, some folks say, well, I'm gonna wait until I, get this done or get that done. Or you don't have to say, let me clean up myself, because that's what Christ does. He cleans us up. So what you doing it for? That's what he does for us. And to know that, and to look at it like this, to be accepted by someone, or to try to be accepted by someone, it's a losing battle.
Yeah.
Because that particular person that we're trying to gain acceptance or approval from, you would never be, because they will always be a B-U-T.
Yep.
And sometimes it can be a B-U-T-T. It depends on how it goes. But I learned a long time ago, this journey was just an extension of what God has done for me in my life. And I cry, like you say, tears of joy. And sometimes my husband say, why are you crying? I'm like, these are not tears of sorrow or pain. I'm just so grateful.
Absolutely.
And I get quiet. I get within myself.
I love that about you too. You can just tell that you're so grateful about it too. And I hope that everybody, I wish that everybody who goes through alopecia, has a family member, a friend with alopecia, can feel the same exact way too. And one day, it's gonna happen.
But you know what? That's where we come in. Yep. You don't know, when I pray in my prayer closet, I say, God, whoever passed, oh my God, whoever passed our cross today, oh God, let your glory go forth. Let your glory go forth. I'm representing you. When I walk out, I represent him. And I want to be able to put on a new outfit every day, because as a girl, I have to have on a new outfit every day in the spirit world. I don't shop like I used to. I paid some serious salaries back in the day. But right now, my outfit, my shopping is shopping the word of God to find an outfit that fits me today. I own it. What am I to do with this outfit? How am I to prance with it? So this is going into a great segue. Last week we talked about a two-part question. Yep. And I love what you said last week. So this one, you spoke to your younger self. So now we're going to go forward in the future of Miss Kelsey. Miss Kelsey, so how could you speak to you in your future? If you could, what would you say?
Well, I guess I try to do this on a daily basis to make sure that I'm telling myself tomorrow what to do. I guess, but keep going.
Oh, wow.
Keep it up. Keep the confidence. taking inspiration from people like you, where, like I had mentioned last week, because I've talked to you and I started focusing my thoughts into my alopecia. I started trying to build a platform. It wasn't the most successful, but I'm gonna get there to where it is successful.
And we can talk after this show. Kelsey, we can talk about this afterwards, about your platform. I would be glad to help you with that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd love to pick your
So
brain
we'll
on
talk
that.
about it.
Because and then with like the book I've been working on and stuff like that, I wanted to do like children's books to help build awareness to young children, so maybe it's a little bit more open to ixnay the bullying about alopecia. And it's not just bullying about alopecia, different disabilities, or, like you had mentioned earlier, I think maybe last week, about race, gender, weight, things like that. Nobody needs to be bullied at all. So I tell myself, just keep it going and don't stop, because if I stop, then I don't want to end up risking getting into one of those procrastination modes where you just put it off hold for a week and then it's a month, and keep it going. Don't keep it going.
I like what you're saying, because as long as you got breath in your body, you're going to always be in purpose. You're going to always bring joy. Just to look at you will always bring you. Just to look at you, ain't got to say a word. Look at Kelsey. So and I'm definitely going to get with you after the platform. But that's a great segue. We're getting ready to get into a new outfit. Hebrews 5:8. That's why I said you're going to see what I'm talking about. Hebrews 5:8. Although he was a son, he learned obedience from the things which he suffered. So the theme today is learning. Kelsey, I love to learn from whatever circumstance, experience, or what have you that I encounter, because it serves as a guide in making the right decision in whatever season in my life that I'm in. As we encounter this thing called life, we will run into many things that would cause us to ponder, is this the right road to take? Am I going in the right direction? But sometimes we find ourselves making decisions that was totally not in our favor. Some of the decisions that we made, they set us back a few years. Whether the bad decisions be from relationship, job choices, family issues, etc. Either way, I like to put them in a place called toolbox of experiences. One decision that I'm glad that I made was the decision to follow Christ. That decision alone allowed me to be reminded of my toolbox of experiences. In this toolbox, I was able to find the strength to pull up each memory and be strong enough, Kelsey, to record a lesson learned from each experience, okay? Some of my experiences were much harder than others, such as I stated earlier, I had a failed marriage that ended in divorce. Oftentimes, we talked about that, God was letting us know that we were only to date certain people, not to marry them, or even just have a short relationship, not extend over years. In your case, and mine was married. I mean, we get so consumed with what we think we want until we cannot hear the voice of God that is undoubtedly speaking to us like, change the course. This word tells us that we learn obedience by experiencing it. We have lessons learned by the experiences of having gone through them first. The concept of learning is personally tied to the knowledge of experiencing. What am I saying? One cannot have a lesson learned unless that lesson has been experienced, okay? Family, I'm asking you today, what is in your toolbox of experiences? Did you make good of your experiences to learn lessons so that you would not repeat them, or that when they come up again, you will be better at handling them? Will you be able to pass along your lessons learned to help someone else? I like to think of my experiences as tests. If you do not pass that test the first time, you must repeat it again. In other words, if you do not learn from your experience, then ultimately you will have to repeat that experience again. John talks about that. As a child of God, we are witnesses for the kingdom, and to learn from our toolbox of experiences will equip us to pass along our lessons learned as we witness to others, because that's what we're doing. We exchanging. We just simply exchanging. Remember Hebrews 5:8. Although he was a son, he learned obedience from the things which he suffered. Learn from your going throughs because your blessing is just on the other side. So Kelsey, oh my God, I cannot begin to, I humbly thank you for accepting the invite to be on this platform. You just don't know.
Absolutely.
It's
been
more than I
amazing.
thought it would be.
Yeah, it's been great. I've enjoyed
It's
it.
more than I
I
thought
kind
it
of
would
want
be.
to Zoom you all the time.
I know it's so you know, so we're gonna do something later. We're gonna collaborate on something later. Like I told you, I'll get with you out the platform so I can give you some dues and just to help you along the journey. Because
Sure,
if someone
yeah,
help
I'd
me, it's
love
all about giving back. It's all about helping another sister or brother. So I want to thank everyone for being on, you know, my family for being a part. I also want to let you know that next week we have a new guest. And if you can look at the flyer, you'll see who the new guest is. And I'm telling you, this platform is not just about, it's always going to be the platform of alopecia, but it's about inspiration. It's about inspiring. It's about going into direction and understanding different things. There was a topic that came before me, and I reached out to this guest that's going to be on next week, Kelsey, and they're going to talk about it. This going to talk about it. So it's going to be interesting. But
Yeah.
again, I want to give a shout out to my girl, Sweets by LaDonna Ellington. You guys have been, and she would be tickled, Kelsey, for you to want something, she can mail it to you. But
I will be. Once you said Oreos, and yep, I'm hooked.
go away, Oreos, girl.
Oreos.
Go away, Oreos. And whatever package that you order, she's gonna throw in a dozen at half price. So awesome. She's running this consecutive. She's running this for 2 months. So evidently she's doing very well. So I just want to thank you, family, for loving on Miss Kelsey, for letting her know that you enjoyed her journey. She's beautiful. And I still like that thing going.
Thank you.
So love you so much, family. Again, we'll see you next week on Bald, Beautiful, Bold, Mollie B's Alopecia Journey on Inspirational Wednesdays. Pay attention to the time zone that each segment will air, because it does change from 12 noon Central to sometimes 1 p Central, which is an hour for you guys. We are an hour behind. So if I'm 12 noon, it's 1 o'clock for Eastern. I'm Central. If it's 1 for Central, it's 2 for Eastern. So I want you guys to be able to just know, to be able to tap in, because this is a sister girl show. We want brothers to do it too, but in the meantime, we'll rock it the way we got it. So I love you. God bless you. See you next week. Kelsey, you fire, girl.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
God bless you. I just love you.
You too.